Alright, hello everyone, I am Mephiston, and today I'm gonna do a quick video. This will not be a long, detailed, in-depth video on how to deal effectively with phalanxes in EB. We all know that phalanxes have an immense and insane frontal and forward-facing power, and it's really hard to deal with them without involving flanking and pinning the phalanx unit itself. But there is one easy and quick way to do that without incurring in huge casualties, which is the main concern of many players who are kind of scared by the high amount of casualties any pinning unit seems to get when facing phalanxes. So I'm just gonna play as the SPQR. This unit is just a placeholder to get rid of the general, because I just want to use my Hastati and Principes without having a general. While for the enemy I will use the Pesetairoi, which are professional medium phalanx. This is played with the multiplayer EDU, so the Sarissa has lower attack but higher lethality. So it's still a highly lethal weapon. It's not to be underestimated by any means. So let's go. This image is actually very fitting in this context, because killing a phalanx is much easier than most people may think, as I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. Let's skip this. So the general stays in the back, the Hastati go in loose formation, 5 ranks deep, guard mode, as you can see here, and the Principes stay back. Both of these units have fire at will off, because I don't want to damage the phalanx before a certain point in the battle, and then I'm withdrawing my cavalry. So as you can see, I placed my Hastati, let's triple speed this, I placed my Hastati in guard mode and in loose formation in front of my army, which in this case is just the Principes, but usually it will be a certain amount of units. Basically that's it. That's how you deal with phalanxes, as it will be demonstrated in 1 second. Let's not triple speed this. Here is the engagement. And basically that's what I'm talking about. That's the result of the engagement. So the phalanx pushes its way up to the first rank of the Hastati, and maybe a bit more, and then it stops. The Hastati are left in guard mode, so they do not actively seek to fight the phalanx, but rather they stay in their place. They just wait for the phalanx to come forward. But that's something that the phalanx doesn't do. And actually this is a pretty uncommon occurrence, because usually the phalanx, as soon as it reaches the very first line, it stops. It really stops there and doesn't go forward. So let's fast forward a bit. That's enough, I think. An equivalent of 5 minutes in game have passed. As you can see, the Hastati took like 25 casualties, which is 25% of the unit, but it's not really a big deal considering that 5 minutes, a whole 5 minutes have passed. So the killing power of a phalanx against a loose formation guard mode unit doesn't matter how light it is, because let's face it, Hastati are pretty light and not really heavily armored. It's also in the unit description, they are light infantry. So let's run these Principes. Oh, come on, stay there, do not engage. Okay, so now they are on the flanks, and anyway, 6 minutes. Now the equivalent of 6 minutes have passed, and still the Hastati have lost less than 1/3 of their strength. And now the Principes are going to start dishing pain out. So the Hastati still have quite a bit of men in their unit, while the Pezzettairo have been absolutely smashed by the Principes, which are far better in a disorganized melee like this, because of their much better martial prowess when in close combat compared to the Pezzettairo, which have subpar, like mediocre defensive skill. And note that I am engaging on this side of the phalanx and not this side, because on this side there is the general, and I didn't want to have him killed before the unit was destroyed, because that would insta-rout the Pezzettairo probably. And by the way, this took less time to the Principes to destroy the Pezzettairo compared to the time that it took to the Pezzettairo to kill less than half of the Hastati. And the difference in quality, in the unit quality, is astounding. Like, Pezzettairo are much better than Hastati, and they cost even more than Principes. So, as you could see, this is basically the result. So you need 2 units to kill the phalanx, but you do not need a heavy unit in front of the phalanx, and you do not need to take excessive casualties to kill out a sufficiently strong phalanx like the Pezzettairo, even with the general inside. If we take the general out of this equation, this unit would have routed much earlier. So I hope this is helpful for some players that struggled a bit with phalanxes, and thank you for watching the video, and hope to see you guys soon again.